This is the tutorial video for functional range conditioning, PAILs and rails of the hip joint, specifically external rotation of the hip joint. PAILs and rails is an acronym that stands for progressive or regressive angular isometric loading. That's a lot of words. It's a bit of a mouthful, so we shorten it to PAILs and rails. PAILs and rails within the FRC system is used for three objectives that we are trying to achieve. First being to expand space within the joint itself, so to increase the available range of motion within that specific joint, within that specific range of motion. For this one, external rotation. The second objective is to gain control over our end ranges of motion. So the end ranges of motion are the furthest ranges that we can take that joint. In this case, we'll be using external rotation. And the final objective is to increase the quality of tissue within the joint itself, meaning that the joint capsules have to have a high quality of tissue for them to express health and longevity and range of motion. So those are the three objectives. This is your PAILs and rails tutorial for hip joint external rotation. Let's get to it. When you do your hip joint PAILs and rails, we will be doing them on the floor in a position called 90-90. So if you kick your legs out straight ahead of you, we'll call this neutral position for my hip joints and my thigh bones. They're pointed straight ahead. To get myself into this 90-90 position, I'm going to take my body and swivel it like this, such that my leg to the front, the thigh bone comes straight out to the front of the room, and my shin bone goes straight out to the side of the room, creating a 90-degree angle of my thigh and my shin bone. So I can have my thigh pointed over here or in there. I can have my shin tucked back or out here. I need this nice 90-degree angle of thigh to shin. Same thing with the back leg. I've got this back leg thigh bone pointed straight out to the side of the room here, and my shin bone going straight to the back of the room here, creating again a 90-degree angle. So when you look down, you should see a 90 here and a 90 here. Now this front leg is in external rotation of the hip joint, meaning this thigh bone and hip is rotated out away from the center line of the body this way. This back leg is in internal rotation here. Some of you might find it challenging to hold yourself up in this position. If so, get yourself a yoga block so that you can prop yourself up a little taller. I don't really want to be leaned out like this. I want to be up nice and tall and straight with my spine lined up over the hip joint like this. So if you need, grab yourself a yoga block. Second, some of you might have very limited external rotation, whereby when you try to get into this position, your knee might be hiked up off the ground. It might not be able to get down to the floor. If that's the case, you need to get yourself something like these, which are little pads. This could be paperback books. This could be a rolled up towel. This could be rolled up yoga mat, where you can place these underneath the side of this leg such that the knee and the side of my thigh is not floating up in space like this. It has something firm to land on. So you might need something on the underside of this leg. Next, what we'll talk about is how to go into our stretch of the hip joint from this 90-90 position of external hip rotation. To stretch the hip joint in external rotation, the first thing you'll want is to align your chest so that it is pointed straight out in front of your thigh. No twisting of the torso like this. So everything is lined up straight ahead. You've got your 90-degree angle here, your 90-degree angle here. And the first part of this hip stretch is to keep your chest tall. So I want the chest and my rib cage and my spine very erect. I don't want to bend over this way. So I keep my chest up, I keep my chin back, my eyes up. And to initiate the stretch, I'm going to start to lean my chest and my abdominal wall out over this front leg, like I'm trying to close the distance between my abdominal wall and the top of my thigh. To get deeper into stretches, we need to take some deep breaths. As you breathe out, try to deepen the stretch. You can move your hands forward if you need to. These can be wherever you need to feel stable. I'm trying to find my end range of motion of this stretching position here, avoiding any rounding of the back
and chest. So keep everything really tall. Go as deep as you can until you feel like you can't stretch any further. Now, these stretching sensations should be felt on the backside of your left hip and pelvis. Maybe a little bit of the inner thigh over here as well. But it is a very muscle feeling stretch. Even though we're stretching hip joint, it'll feel like a burn. If you've ever done a hamstring stretch, this feels something like it. A little bit of muscle burn, which is fine. Deep breathing. We'll spend about 10 more seconds in the stretch. If you're timing this at home, we're looking for at minimum 60 seconds in the stretch alone. Once we've hit that 60 seconds, then we can start with our PAILs and rails. PAILs and rails stands for progressive and regressive angular isometric loading. What that means is we'll be using contractions deep into the hip joint tissue from our end range of motion, meaning our deepest stretch. Simplest way I can describe this is PAILs is always a pushing away from the stretch, and rails is a pulling deeper into the stretch. So if I'm in this external rotation, a PAILs contraction is going to be pushing the underside of this leg, the underside of my heel bone, my shin, my knee, and my thigh down into the floor with a pressure that creates even distribution of this leg down. A rails is going to be the opposite. It's going to be lifting this leg up away from the ground, trying to pull this higher up from where I am here. So PAILs, pushing, rails, pulling. Keep it simple like that. When we do our PAILs and rails contractions, we're going to be doing 5 reps for 10 seconds of time each contraction. The goal here is that we're going to be using anywhere from 20 to 80% effort of how hard you can push. So we're going to start at, say, 20, pretty low. So let's begin by finding the end range of our stretch here. Go as deep as you can into your external rotation stretch, chest tall. We'll begin our PAILs by taking a little bit of breath in, trapping some air in your core and abdomen, and start to push this leg down. Create a pressure into the floor at, say, 20% effort. So not that hard. We're going to hold this for 10 seconds. Keep it even and steady in how hard you're pushing into the floor, and then relax. If you can from here, try to deepen further into that range of motion. Creep out a little more if you can into a new end range of motion here. But you should be pretty far into that stretch. We're going to repeat the PAILs again, where we take a little bit of breath in. We trap it in the core. Now I want you to push it 30 to 40% effort. So make it harder. Push harder into the floor. Picture there's a scale under your leg and you have to make the numbers go up as you push into that weight scale for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Now from here, you can either deepen the stretch. If you feel like you can go any further, go further. You may already be close to your end range of motion, in which case you'll do all of the rest of your PAILs at your end range here. I've got a little more, so I'll come a little further out. So again, repeating a PAILs, taking some breath in, trapping that air in the abdomen, holding tight, pushing the leg down, squeezing everything on the back side of my hip, the underside of my leg, 50% effort, pretty hard, for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, relax. If you can, go deeper into the stretch. If not, stay here. 2 more PAILs reps. Deep breath in. Hold your core tight. Push the leg down. Let's go from 50 to 60, 70% pushing. Make this harder. Really work the tissue in this end range of motion and you'll get a lot more out of it for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Most of you should be close to your end range of motion, but if you have any further to go, go down further. Last set of our PAILs contractions. Let's push this one hard. So we take some breath in, lock that core, push the leg down, really firm. Hold it tight, keep pushing. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. So At this point, we've been in this position for at minimum 2 minutes, which is how long we need to spend in the deep stretch, working our PAILs and rails to make a lasting change in the hip joint tissue, to expand our end range, improve our control over our end range of motion. So once we're down here, we're not coming back up. So in between your PAIL sets, I don't want you popping up. You got to stay down here the whole time. 60-second stretch to start. 5 reps of our PAILs at 10 seconds each. Let's talk about our rails. Rails is going to be the opposite. We're going to stay in this position. I'll come up just to show you, but then I'll be right back down here with you. So rails is going to be a pulling of the thigh bone up towards the ceiling. So from that deep stretch position, I want you to take your hand and place it on top of your thigh. So just above where your knee joint is, not down at the shin. So right at the thigh bone here. And from that deep stretch position, your rails is going to be trying to lift this leg up into this hand. So make sure the hand holds firm down there. Take some breath in. Trap that air in the abdomen. Start to lift your thigh up into your hand. Pin it down with that hand. Hold it firm. Let's say we're at 20 to 30% effort for this first set. First rep. 3, 2, 1, relax. Good, let's repeat. Another rails. Deep breath in. Trap that air. Lift that thigh bone up towards the ceiling. Pin it down with that hand. Squeeze everything on the front side of the hip. Everything towards the midline of the hip here. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Good. I'm going to turn this angle here just so you can see it a little differently. So again, my rails is trying to lift this up. So I've got it pinned down. I'm in my deep external rotation. Deep breath in. Try to lift that thigh. Squeeze hard. Let's go 40, 50% effort. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Relax. Take a breath. You've been working hard. Good. We have 1 or 2 more rail sets. I wasn't counting. Let's do 1 more. Tighten the cord. Pull the leg up. Squeeze up towards the ceiling with that leg. Try to lift it up into that hand. Keep the hand firm. Pin it down while it's trying to lift. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Relax. Let's do 1 more. Deep breath in. Good effort for this last one. Tighten the core. Start to lift that leg. Really squeeze hard on this one. Upwards of your effort. Squeeze hard. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and relax. You just got through a full session of external rotation, PAILs, and rails for your hip joint. Something to keep in mind. Number 1, when you are training new end ranges of motion, expect it to make you sore. That is a worthy trade-off for both expanding joint range of motion, controlling end range, and creating better quality tissue into the joint structures themselves. So don't be put off if you get quite sore from doing this. The way I dose this for my patients is typically every 2 to 3 days. 3 days if it makes you really sore after your first session. Every 2 days if you're trying to make a very rapid change and you have pretty healthy tissue to bring along for the ride. Now that I've been doing this for years, I dial this down to once a week for myself because I've already created a lot of change in my hip, and I'm doing it at an extremely high level of effort. So I'm still doing 90-90 PAILs and rails. I'm just doing a maximal effort set when I do it once a week. But if I was trying to learn how to do this, expand some tissue, increase the quality, I'd probably have to do it every 2 to 3 days to re-influence that tissue on a repetitious nature to create a lasting change into the hip joint itself. That's our functional range conditioning, PAILs and rails for hip external rotation.